Welcome to this episode of Talking Lamar. Today, I'm talking about one of the many jobs I've had, filming weddings. Let's get to it.
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
Sorry, I forgot what I was talking about.
What are you talking about?
I am talking to you.
That's just what I was talking about.
It's Talking Lamar.
You know, over the years, I've had a lot of jobs, but I've had one job for a long time, and that's been in the beer business. And actually, I was at Budweiser for 37 years. So that's a job, okay? But during that time, I also owned a video store, which is a whole nother episode that we're not going to get into today. I also had a truck washing company with my kids. I had the snack machine vending at Budweiser. I was also doing the Bob and Sheri show from Budweiser, and I videotaped weddings and some funerals. Now, right, let's go ahead and get the funeral thing out of the way. The funerals were mostly memorial services, but sometimes a straightforward funeral. Now, the reason most of the time that they were videoed was because some family member was out of town and could not make it. But sometimes it was because they just wanted to have it as a remembrance of the loved one. But my one steadfast rule when I was taping a funeral was no video of an open casket. Never. Under no circumstances, I'm not doing that. I know a long time ago, it was normal for people to have pictures of a person lying in state, as they say. But for me, it's just creepy. So up front, I said, do not understand. There will be no video of any kind of open casket. But mostly what I did was weddings. Now, I'm not talking about running around with my iPhone like you see today. I shot 4 camera weddings with 2 or 3 people operating cameras, which meant a ton of footage that had to be edited. And oh, buddy, it was a lot. Because like you got to figure if you spend 3 hours at a wedding and you've got 4 cameras going, that's 12 hours of footage that you got to cut down into an hour. But I always told my clients, if somebody drops a fork, I've got it. I mean, I've got everything that happens. I've got it. And they were very expensive weddings. And you see a lot of very sweet things when you're shooting weddings. And especially when you're doing the pre-wedding stuff. Like once everybody is dressed and right before they walk out, I would go to the bride and then to the groom to get a message to each other. You know what I'm talking about? Like, you know, oh, it's just a couple of minutes. Yeah. I love those.
I can't wait to spend the rest of my life with you, Josh.
Yes. So, and you can tell a lot by what they say into the camera at that moment, especially the grooms. Because if at this moment, just minutes before you walk out to marry the person that you plan to spend the rest of your life with, the thoughts on your mind and the words that comes out of your mouth, they reveal a lot. And I've had grooms that look like hard guys and tough as nails break down in tears as they talk about their wives to be and how much they love them and they can't wait to be their husband. And with those guys, after I stopped filming it, I'd put the camera down, I'd hand them a tissue and I'd say, brother, keep this wedding video queued up to this exact moment. And anytime you mess up and your wife is mad, set her down, pop this in and hit play. You will be golden. Okay. I mean, because it is very, you know, and half the time when I'm handing them a tissue, I'll get one for myself because I get caught up in it too. I mean, some of these people it's awesome. Now, sometimes you have a jerk. A few times I've had a jerk that's like, yeah, I can, you know, I'm here. I didn't run away. I couldn't find a way out. And a couple of times I've stopped and said, whoa. I'm going to do you a favor. We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. That's not what you, yeah. I said, man, listen, he goes, oh no, she'll think that's funny. I said, let me stop you. I'm telling you right now. Not only have I been doing this for a while, I've been married for a while. A couple of times, to tell you the truth, this is not going to go well for you. So let's start over, think of something sweet to say, and then we'll move on. My whole thing was, buddy, this ain't the time to be joking. This ain't the time for the ball and chain. No. Because your wife is expecting somebody that loves her. Well, I do love her. I wouldn't be here. I understand that. But just stop. Think about this before you say it. Come on. What are you doing? But
And
some
if,
of the
if your wedding day is not the day to be gooey and romantic, tell me what day is going to be that day, right?
This is not the day to be the cool cat. This is the day to be in love with your wife. This is it, man. This is absolutely it. Now, some of the greatest messages came from people who had dated for a good while and had agreed to wait until they were married to consummate their relationship. Wasn't a ton of these, but they were some. And one couple comes to mind. They had met in church. They were both youth leaders. They went to college together. They graduated and they're getting married. Now, in his message, he had a really sweet, he was very sweet. He talked about his love for her and the plans for their future together. And at the end, he did mention that he had been waiting for this night for quite a few years, meaning the honeymoon. So I go to his bride, and this is a beautiful girl, and she's bubbly with this big personality. And so when she did her message, she was giddy. She was really giddy. And she spoke of her love for him and what kind of thing that, they were going to do for their marriage is really sweet. And she couldn't wait to be his wife and all the sweet things. Then she stopped and she looked into the camera with this serious look. And she said, I've been waiting on this for years, literally years. When we get to that reception, don't mess around. Cut the cake, dance the dance, and let's go. We can talk to these people when we get back. We got business to do, and I have high expectations. She said, I'm going to handle my end, so you better not let me down. Love you. Bye. It was awesome. Wow. It was awesome. It was great. It really was. But one of my most memorable weekends was the one and only time I booked 2 weddings on the same weekend, 265 miles apart.
Ooh.
One was up in the mountains of North Carolina, and the other was 5 hours away at Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Now, the North Carolina one was on Saturday, and the Myrtle Beach one was on Sunday. Now, this was me and Carla, my wife, and we finished shooting the one up in North Carolina, got packed up at about 11:30 on a Saturday night. We get in the car, and we drive 5.5 hours or so. We get to our hotel a little after 5 a.m. We go to sleep till noon, get up, get ready, and we head to the venue. This was a huge wedding at a luxury resort hotel. The bride's father was a big executive with a worldwide company. Now, as Bob would say, I'm not going to name the company, but it's big. Okay. So we get to the venue, we set up, we start shooting pre-wedding stuff. Now, Carla would go in with the bride while she's getting dressed with her bridesmaid and shoot footage there. And I would be shooting footage with the groomsman and the groom. But one of our signature things that we like to do was we would shoot the bride in her jeans and shirt, just doing a twirl. Then when she had her wedding stuff on and she was ready to go, we would twirl her again. And then when I got through with the edit, she would magically transform from jeans and shirt to beautiful bride in about 3 or 4 seconds. And it was a killer effect. It really was. And so while we were doing that, Carla informed me that this bride was a piece of work. And, over the years, I've shot tons of weddings, and 99% of the brides were as sweet as they could be. We had a few that were tough. But turns out this bride was the worst one we ever had. It was like one of those bridezillas on reality show. She talked, it was horrible. She talked to her bridesmaids like they were servants. She talked to her mama like she was a dog, the hotel staff like they were idiots. It was tough. When the florist brought in her bouquet, she looked at it and threw it down, said it was horrendous, and she demanded to redo it. Only after her mama convinced her that there was not enough time to replace it did she decide to do it. But she only said she would do it if the florist agreed not to charge for it. I mean, she was horrific.
Oh, my word.
So we get through that part, and it's time for the ceremony. And it's outside by the pool for the ceremony. And this is absolutely a gorgeous place. Where you're sitting with the pool, you're overlooking the ocean. I mean, it is the perfect setting for a beautiful wedding. The problem was, this was late July, and it was 98 degrees. The humidity was about the same. You're in direct sunlight. There is no shade whatsoever. Everybody walks out. The service starts. I've got a microphone on the bride and on the preacher, so we know what's going. We can hear everything. And immediately, the bride starts complaining about the heat. And she had these perfect ringlets in her hair, but the humidity destroyed them in about 15 seconds when she walked outside. I mean, she's complaining to the groom. She's complaining to the maid of honor. She's complaining to the preacher, to anyone that'll listen. Now, the preacher starts the ceremony, and I can't tell you how hot it is. I mean, I've got on a suit, and at this point, I could not be wetter if I jumped in the pool. I'm just soaking wet. It's horrible. Everybody here is in the same shape. And the wedding party, I mean, they're just baking in the sun. So we get about 3/4 of the way into the ceremony, and Carla and I are mic'd up with each other so that we can communicate. And she says, "Look at the maid of honor. Is she swaying?" And I looked, and sure enough, she's having a heat stroke. She's tilted back and forth. And I'm like, uh-oh, she's going down. And about that time, she fell out flat on the cement. I felt the vibration in my feet from back where I was standing. I mean, she's out. Now, everybody starts scrambling. They're calling for water. They're calling for a doctor. Now, my camera is still locked on the bride. She never moved anything but her head. And she looks over her shoulder down at the unconscious bridemaid, and she goes, "Well, that's just great. What's going to happen next?" Zero concern, zero compassion. Then she says, "Can somebody get her up?" So we took a little break, and they got her some water, and they got her cooled off, and she says she can make it. So everybody gets back in place. And the bride looks at the groom and says, "Well, finally." And I'm thinking, this guy, now he's some sort of a jerk in his own right, but if he had any sense, he would have run fast. But he didn't. I guess that money was just too much. It was just too much. So we get to the reception, really nice. Sit down dinner, open bar. I mean, it's great. I mean, everybody's having a great time. They got music. And the mother of the bride, she's taking full advantage of the open bar. By the end of the night, she was drunk as Cooter Brown. I'm telling you, man, she is wasted. Now,
should I know who Cooter Brown is?
Everybody knows who Cooter Brown is.
Who Cooter Brown is.
Cooter Brown.
Because I don't know, is he famous or is that like a colorful Hartwell, Georgia?
No, Cooter Brown is famous. He was in the Civil War. And they turned him down at the Civil War Army. They turned him down. The South turned him down because he drank too much. He was constantly drunk. And he's like the only person ever to be turned down for the Army. And his name was Cooter Brown. And as long as I've been alive, if anybody was really, really drunk, they was drunk as Cooter Brown.
I'm glad to know this. I had not heard. I've learned last couple episodes ago, you taught us the expression rough as a cob, and now drunk as Cooter Brown. I'll remember that.
Sheri, can I tell you what the AI says? Cooter Brown is a legendary drunkard used as a metaphor for drunkenness in the southern United States.
Yeah.
The phrase drunker than Cooter Brown is used to describe someone who is extremely intoxicated.
See there?
I'm just so delighted.
Hey, listen, I'm well read, okay? I'm well read. I'm an educated man.
I am so delighted to have. I'm going to look for this weekend that's coming. I'm going to look for a chance to use rough as a cob and drunk as Cooter Brown in the same sentence. I will let you know if I can pull that off. Surely with the people in my family, there must be somebody
Yes.
who's both rough as a cob and drunk as Scooter Brown. I love it.
That is true. That is true. Now, the plan is that when they get ready to leave, everybody that, gets married, they want to leave in a line and, got, rice and flowers and whatever. But this deal was, they were going to be everybody's going to line up with sparklers. Now, these are not those little sparklers you're thinking about. I don't know if you've ever seen these. They're really thick sparklers. That's like over 2 foot long. You know what I'm talking about?
The professional sparklers.
Professional sparklers.
Yeah.
Well, they had these. And so her brother, who was slightly more drunk than her mama, was in charge of handing out the sparklers and then lighting them. Well, he decided instead of giving everybody a sparkler and try to get them all lit, it would be easier to just go ahead and light the entire bundle and then hand them out. It was not exactly an explosion, but it was close enough. When he lit those sparklers, there was a big whoosh and fire and sparkling stuff's happening. It's burning his hands. He's hollering. He's jumping around. Finally, he dives into the pool with the sparklers and all. I mean, he's got burns all running up his arms. He gets the fire put out. Now the bride's pissed because her brother has ruined the exit. And then daddy's trying to calm her down, and it's not working. Eventually, everybody lines up. So they line up and they leave. And so as we're getting ready to shut down the camera, I happen to see Mom staggering by the pool. She catches her high heel in a crack, loses her balance, and falls into the pool in what I'm sure is a $1,000 dress. She comes up drenched as a rat, and the hair's ruined, everything. And she,
Wow.
oh yeah. And I got to be honest with you, sometimes it's the little things that can make a job fun. It really is. It's the little things.
Did all those fancy people just shake their head at the mother of the bride and go,
Yeah.
drunk Scooter
Yeah.
Brown? There
Yep.
she is.
Yep. Well, there wasn't too many sober people there with it. I mean, but it was, but I've never had so many things happen at a wedding in my life. And for a wedding that was set up to be a event. And it was an event, but I mean,
Can you imagine how many episodes of a reality show you could get out of this?
oh my gosh.
Oh, a whole.
Yes.
How did this get missed for like Bridezilla or Say Yes to the Dress or something? Man, these people were born for it.
Yeah.
You do have to look at the ways that a lot of like, it's not just weddings with money that go unhinged like this. It's a very pressured environment, blah, blah, blah. But the money made these people feel entitled to act the way they do. Don't you think?
Yeah. And listen, when I talked to her, when I got the wedding edited, I normally ask people, what do you need? You need a copy for you, a copy for both of your parents, maybe grandparents, something like that. Maybe 4 or 5 copies at the most. Okay. This woman says, I'm going to need at least 25 copies of this wedding.
Ooh.
I said, for who? She said, oh, people are going to want, we got people. Yeah, we've got people. Nobody wants to see this.
Nobody.
No.
I'll be honest. I've never even looked at my own wedding video, much less anybody else's. I've never looked at it. I know you're saying, which wedding, Sheri? And that's a fair question. I've never looked at any of them.
What? Volume 1 or volume 2?
Yeah, I've never.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm thinking to myself, you have got an inflated opinion of how many people are really concerned about your wedding or your daughter's wedding. Yeah, 25 copies of a wedding.
25 copies of the wedding video. Oh, please. So, and let me ask you guys, have you ever looked at anybody else's wedding video? Voluntarily, I mean.
Dude,
You can't count when you've been
no.
captive in the room and they forced you to watch.
No, the only wedding pictures I've sat down and looked at are my parents. Those are the only ones that I've ever sat down and looked at.
And even then, it was more like a historical artifact, right?
Right,
Than,
right.
I wonder
Yeah.
what their place settings looked like.
I think Carla and I, we watched our own. My guys shot ours. We watched our own. We watched it on the anniversary, first anniversary. We went out of town and we watched it. I think we've watched it once or twice more. It's been a while. It's been a long time though. It's been a long time.
I don't
Carla just walked by and she said it's every 5 years. We watch it every 5 years. So
you would think doing what we do for a living that like I just don't want to watch or videos of myself or look at pictures of myself.
no.
I'm
very
I just
uncomfortable
don't.
with myself. Yeah.
We'll shoot a video or something for the show, and I'll say this: one of you guys or Heather, is it good? Are you fine? Or good? Are my eyes open? Okay, I'm good. I don't need to see it. I just don't want to.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. And wedding videos, they're beautiful, especially when they're really well done, like you did. But they're excruciating too, in a way, aren't they?
Well, yes. If you don't have a really vested interest into it. And I got to tell you, wedding videos have really changed over the years. Now you don't get I always delivered a 2-hour wedding video. I delivered a 2-hour wedding video. You would have a little bit of time before the wedding started. You would have the complete ceremony, every minute of the ceremony, and then some highlights of the reception. Now it's all highlights. And it makes it very easy to watch. I mean, the whole thing's probably 20 minutes. It's probably 20 minutes. Like what they'll do now is like when the procession starts down, they will do snippets of different people walking down. Not everybody and not the whole walk. They just do snippets and it's set to music. And they actually, even in the vows, some people do, but most people don't get the entire vows. They get bits and pieces of the vows. Then you get the kiss, then you get to walk out, and they do the reception. And they do it in a way that is quick. They do quick cuts. They hardly ever stay more than 30 seconds on any cut. And they've become a lot, because people don't have time. People just don't have an attention span for it anymore. It's really changed a lot. It's changed a lot.
I feel like we all want everything now to feel like an Instagram reel. Right.
We got to get it as quick as we can.
All the highlights. Yeah. Get me in, get me out. All the highlights. I've started. You're right about the attention span thing, Lamar. I've started a couple of new TV shows, new to me, right, that I hadn't watched yet. And I find myself like, all right, come on, let's get to it. Let's get to it. Let's go. And I never used to be that way. You're right.
Yeah.
Our attention spans are jacked up. Yeah.
And we don't have time.
Yeah.
We don't have time. We're in a hurry.
We
got
are
to
in
go.
a hurry.
We got to go. We can't just hang out. Yeah, exactly.
Plus,
we're
used to watching things that are well produced on television, and that's the expectation you have when you're watching something.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that is true. It's very true.
So do you know the couple that
have no idea.
You don't know.
No idea. The odds of this, I'm sure he had to sign some sort of prenup or whatever, because this was big money.
I wonder how the mother of the bride is doing. And the maid of honor who collapsed from heat stroke, did she make a full recovery?
Well, I got to be honest with you. If I'm her, I've got to check the bride off of my list of friends, because when I hit the ground and you're not even, you're not going, oh my gosh, what's up? Nothing. And listen, I left that in the video. I left it in.
That'll be what'll make that one worth watching.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you said to me, do y'all want to watch our wedding video? It's great. Our maid of honor faints and mom falls into the pool. I'm like, let me just refresh my drink. Hang on.
And my brother singes his eyebrows, setting off sparklers. Yeah. I mean,
that's a wedding video I'm here for. Yeah. So Lamar, then feel free to go ahead and weigh in on what the secrets of a good wedding or marriage is based on just this experience as a wedding videographer.
of this experience of this wedding, or just being a
No,
videographer?
just in being a videographer in general.
You can you can really tell a lot. Like I said, talking back and forth, and when you're doing this, you're spending a lot of time with them, and they forget that you're there. After you've been there for a little while, they forget you're there, so they talk, whatever. And you can really tell, especially with the groom, how much he is concerned about her and her day, because this is her day. If you show up, that's great, but this is her day. This is not your day. It's her day. And I've said this, I've pulled him to the side and I said, listen, man, don't forget now, this ain't your day. You're here. Glad you're here. Everybody's glad you're here. But this ain't your day. This is her day. And if you want the rest of your days to be good, you got to make this day really good. Hey, I watched a guy come in. I watched a couple of guys. Here's the worst thing can happen. The groomsmen go play golf the morning of the wedding. No. Because drinking is going to be... I watched a guy, they almost had to prop him up so he could slur his vows. And
can we also agree that you should not go out partying the night before?
No.
Thank you.
No. If you're going to have any kind of bachelor or bachelorette party, you do that the week before. You don't do that the night before. No. Listen, this guy, him and his groomsmen, they were all just messed up. Okay. And so he's standing there and he's slurring them vows, and I'm watching her daddy, and her daddy is just like, he's fuming. So we get that done. And so they have to cut the cake. Now, I know years ago, the big deal on cutting the cake and feeding each other cake, somebody is going to smush cake into the other one's face. Now, if you want to agree to do that beforehand and you both think it's funny, awesome. Have at it. But if you're drunk and all of a sudden you come up with the idea that you're going to smush that in your wife's face, and you can see she does not want you to the point where she is running through the reception and you're chasing her with a piece of cake in your hand.
Have you seen that? Have you seen a woman chased with cake?
Yes, this same wedding I'm talking about. This same wedding. This is an outdoor wedding, and he is chasing her, and because she's telling him when they're cutting the cake, she says, "No, don't you do it," because her makeup is beautiful, and they still got pictures and stuff to take, and so he picks it up, and he goes, and he starts to do it. Well, she sees she can't stop him, so she just turns around, and he's chasing her through the wedding. And I'm thinking at this point, if I'm looking at her daddy, oh my God, the restraint that he had at that point in time, if I'd have been her daddy, I would have chased him down and beat his ass. And if his daddy had the gall to say anything to me, I'd have beat his ass too. Because the groom's daddy should have stopped him. I mean, I could not have my son chasing his bride in front of 150 people with a piece of cake. No way. No way.
You know what's extra sad about this, dude? There are those of us who, if you just come out into the street and hold a piece of cake, we'll chase you. Yeah. You picked the wrong woman and the wrong venue for this cake chasing. You do not do that to a bride. You do not.
I had thought this was going to be one of the sweetest weddings ever because the groom had cancer, and he had beat the cancer, and she had stayed by his bedside the entire time and helped nurse him. She was a nurse. She helped take care of him as he was sick. Now, if the woman I'm fixing to marry has taken care of me when I'm sick and nursed me through cancer, the least I can do is show up sober and in love on our wedding day.
You're about to tell me that it went a different way, and I can't believe what I'm about to hear. I already can't believe it, and I haven't heard it yet.
This is the guy that was chasing her through. This is the guy.
Oh, this is that guy.
This
Okay.
is the guy. This is the same guy.
I'm having second thoughts about nursing you at that point. I gotta be honest.
Oh,
my
buddy.
God,
Now
oh
I
my
have to
God.
say, she did everything she could to keep the wedding going on. But their first dance, she held him up while they danced. She held
Oh,
him
my.
up
Because he
while
was
they
so
danced.
drunk.
Yeah.
It's a bad start to a wedding, and
Ooh.
and it sounds like a mountain of regret the rest of your life, or at least the rest of the time you're married to that person.
Well, they had to help him get into the limo when they drove off, and they were leaving the next morning like at 5 or 6 o'clock, and they were flying to some exotic location, and it was a pretty long flight. And all I could think is, buddy, she maintained this whole time, but when it's just you and her,
I
that's a
don't like your
long flight.
chances.
Oh,
Yeah.
buddy, she's gonna be in that ear. Oh, and he deserved everything he got. He deserved everything he got. I mean,
Well, you know that he was also miserable when the alarm went off the next morning and
oh
grumpy
yeah,
and
because he's
sour the
hungover.
entire
Yeah.
next day.
Oh yeah, and she's
Yeah.
gonna be firing on him with both barrels. I mean,
The sick, sad feeling. We've all had something happen in our lives where you have to hold it together, with a smile on your face, but that sick, sad feeling, boy, that should not be happening at your wedding. The sick, sad feeling should not be at your wedding.
I mean, as a little girl that's probably planned this her entire life, she's got everything, and it was beautiful. It was a gorgeous wedding. It was fantastic, and to have the man that you are going to marry ruin it. It's one thing if the best man gets out of hand. Okay, that's crazy. The groom, come on. Oh no, that was crazy.
And to know that that's all everyone was talking about. Like you have no escape from it. You're just like,
oh my God.
I'm cringing with like fourth.
Yeah, it was the most cringy. It's the most cringy. Yeah.
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 So don't do that. And don't say something stupid and asinine in the video. So don't chase the bride through the reception hall with a slab of cake.
No.
Don't push the cake into somebody's face. Just don't do that.
These are pretty simple rules that you need to follow. They're very simple. But
so we don't know. We also don't know if
no.
Still.
No.
I don't love
Maybe
their
they got
chances
past it.
anymore
I don't love
than
it either.
Yeah, maybe they got past it, but I don't know. I mean,
I don't know either. If they got past it, it's because she got past it. Right?
Oh yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
here's the thing. People make mistakes. So as long as he didn't launch the rest of their life together, drunk and pursuing her with baked goods, maybe it turned out okay.
and maybe after a while they can look back on this and I don't know though. If I'm him, I'm waiting for her to bring it up and laugh because I'm not laughing about it. And I go ahead and say this. I don't think, sadly, I mean, I got paid and the video got delivered. I don't know if anybody ever watched it.
I would move to Latvia and change my name if I was that guy. And
I would have to have a new life.
Yes,
yeah,
I couldn't, the embarrassment of having not only in front of the bride, but her family, my family, all our friends. No, I would leave the country.
Yeah.
Pretty much everyone that means anything to you that's who you invite to your wedding, right?
Oh, yes.
The people who mean something to you. So, Max, everyone who means anything to you watched in disbelief while you chased a woman around a room with a piece of cake. Yeah, Latvia. I'm with you, brother. That's where you got to go. You don't have a choice.
Yep. It's crazy. Wow. It is crazy. So, all right. That's going to be it for another dramatic and exciting episode of Talking Lamar. Thank everybody for listening. There's a lot of things you could be doing, but listening to me, I appreciate your time. Hope you enjoyed it. Tell somebody about the Talking Lamar podcast, and don't forget to check out the multiple award-winning True Weird Stuff podcast. I promise you will love it. Now, there's a lot more to come for Talking Lamar, so don't stop now because I hate a quitter. Join us for the next episode. Let us know what you think. Go on the Bob and Sheri app. Look down at the bottom. Click on that microphone and tell us all about it. We love to listen to every message. You can also call 844-52-SHERI and leave a message there too. Until then,